Okay, for now, and we will also go through some built-in functions for strings and so on. But we'll start by the task. The task was an easy task if you're using the knowledge that you have learned so far. So will be for this task, as you can see that you are asked to store data using Python dictionaries. So the data will be like, for example, username, user password, and user phone, and etc. And the data that you is stored, you should also allow the user to access the data using the password and so on, so the user can access the data according to his name and password. And for the bonus, exercise, is that the user can add users and delete them in the dictionary. So this is the task we will be working on, and I will explain step by step how can we do it, and the other steps that, or the other ways to do it. Okay. So let's start by creating, going to creating a file name. I'm starting Visual Studio Code first. Okay. So the first thing is that store user data using a Python dictionary. One of the one of the ways to store data is using dictionaries or lists and so on. This is a simple way of storing data. Mostly in big projects and so on, you will be storing for permanent storing. You will be storing the data inside a database. There are various types of database, but for now, because we are just covering the basics, we'll store the data temporarily inside the Python dictionary. Okay, so first we will start by creating the user, the place we are going to store the data in. So let's call it user data, sorry. Okay, now we will have, for the user data, we'll have what? We'll have the username, okay, password, and so on. So if we, to do it, if we are going to store one user, so we can just do it like this. Password, okay. Sorry, let's start by user name, let's say. Okay, so the username, we can say Alex. Let's start by that. Then we can, for the password, we can either store the password in another dictionary. We can do it like this. So user passwords. This is the way to do it. So we can do like this. Okay. I'll have view editor. So zoom in. Okay. Now it's clear, I think. Okay. We'll do. Okay. Let's say you can say Alex, and the password here, for example, let's say ABC123. Okay. So now we have, for example, user data, which is username and user password. This is the way to do it. And you can also have another one for the, for the phone number or so on. This is one way to do it. Okay. Let's say phone. Okay. Number. Then we can do like this. Alex. Let's say 00 on his number and so on. Okay. So now we can store the data like this in 3 different dictionaries. Okay. And now the first we say that give the user data according to their names and passwords. So that what do you mean by that? right? What I mean is that if the user, you will ask the user for his name or her name, and according to the name and the password, if the password is correct and the name is correct, you will, show the user the data. To do this, what we are going to do, we are going to use the if else statement. Okay. So first, you can just do it like this. Let's say user input. Okay, and you can input here, enter your name. Okay, now you can ask the user enter your name like this. So when the user enters the name, uh, you will get the name and push it there. So you can say user input name and enter password, for example. Enter your password. Okay, now let's say if user data, that, then you can say user data, because now we are accessing a dictionary. Okay, so we can do this because now the user will give us the name, so we can take this. Before that, sorry, before that, let's ignore this one for how am I going to access, the user data here? For example, the username Alex here. Okay, if you go to back to the way we use dictionaries, or if you search in the internet how to use dictionaries, because I didn't explain much on that. One of the ways to access dictionary is to use the key. So to access the username here, so for example, username Alex. Okay, so this is for a starter, this is not correct, but let's say we are doing it like this. Okay, so we can access Alex, okay, using the username. Okay, but if we try to add a new users, how are we going to access them? Now we are facing the first problem. Let's say we want to add want to access Alex. To access Alex, we can just ignore this one for now. We are going to do like this, print, and let's say user data, and to access Alex we have to use the key, which is this is the key here. Okay, so if I try to run this code, okay, I can get Alex, and if I write Alex and try user password, can get the password. So what I can do is I can do like this. Okay, using this one, user name. Okay, let's say, then we can user data. Okay, then say username. Now I'm accessing the username, which is Alex, using a key username. Even though this is not correct, but let's just use it for now. User. So then Alex, you can say that. You can use this one, user data, like this, for example. Then you say password. You can now, and because this one is going to give us Alex, we can just put it here, for example, like this. Okay, and this one is the same, so we can just do like this. Okay, let's try this one. It's a bit messy, but I want to show you. Okay, this one is wrong here. Okay, you can see that username is Alex password, which is this one, and this is the phone number. You can see that the way I accessed the dictionary at the first time is I use the key here. So I use the key. After that, when you use the key, you will get the value, which is Alex here. Okay, I can use this dictionary value to access another dictionary's a key. So this one will be a key for the other dictionary. Alex will be used here as a key for the other dictionary, like this. Okay. Now this is not it's now this value of the first dictionary is a key to this dictionary. Okay. So this is one of the ways to access a dictionary, is either using the key directly or using another value from a dictionary or input as a way to access dictionary. But as I said before, this is messy now, because okay, this is a username, but if I want to have I want to have one more than one user. It's not going to be okay. How I'm going to have another user? What am I going to call the key? So this is not a good way to do it. Let's show you a way to do it. So we can, instead of this one, we can just create a dictionary, call it that will store the user data. Instead of having, now we have the user Alex, okay? Now after we have the user X, we are going to create a dictionary inside the dictionary, okay? So the dictionary inside the dictionary will be password, then we'll have the password, for example, let's say ABC123, okay? And we'll have phone like this, and let's store the phone number and so on. Okay, now I have the first user. I can add another user. Let's call it Sam password. Let's have, okay, the same password. Let's change the number a bit. Okay, now we can have two users. Okay, after that, let's try access this this dictionary. So we can say print, okay, user data. Now if I want to access, for example, Alex, this one, I can just take Alex, put it here, as this is the key now. This is the key. What's the value? The value is the whole dictionary, here. So the value will give, when you access Alex, it will give you the password and it will give you the phone. So let's try this one. You can see I have the password and the phone, for example. Okay. Now I can, for example, if I access Sam, okay, I can have the password and phone for Sam. Okay, now we have our data stored at least statistical in a static way. Okay, so let's say, let's try to access, allow the user to input the data. So let's say uh, user name, which is username input or whatever. So let's say input, let's say enter your name. Okay, after we get the name, we also want to get the password. However, before we want to make sure is that the username is there. So let's, if we access now, let's say print and user data, we can do like this. Then we can use username here like this and try to access. So let's say Alex. Okay, it will give me the data for Alex. This one, the first step. Can you move to the left a little bit? Move what? I don't understand. My screen is full screen now. What's the problem? Is it okay now? Okay, let's continue. Now we know how to access the dictionary, and we have also stored the data for now in a basic way. Okay, this is the way you write your programs. First, try to make everything from the basics works fine. Then you go further. Okay. Now, if you want the user to access his data, first we have the first step. If you want to make sure is if the user is there or not. This is one of the basic steps. If you check any website or so on, when you try to enter, it will ask you for the password and the name. Okay, and it will use the password and the name to check if the user is there or not. Okay, and there are many ways. You can first check for the user, then you can ask for the password, like Google or Gmail, or you can directly ask for both. For us, we'll ask first for the user, we will check, then we will ask for the password. So let's say, well, so we'll use the if conditions. So the if conditions says is that are we are going to ask if user data dot, then we use username. So what does this do? Now we are asking if this one, okay, if you are a first time programmer, you will say, what does it mean? I don't understand. Okay, this means that if this exists, the user is going to give us something. Okay, so we are checking if it's true or false. So what we are checking here, if for example, let's say we have Alex, we have Sam. Okay, so if we say if Alex and we say Brent, okay, let's say exist. Okay, so this one is Brent, I think. Oh, sorry. Okay, so it says exist. Why? Because it will, this one, it will go here, it will go to the dictionary, and it will, if it exists, it will return back this one. Okay, it will return back the whole thing here. However, if it doesn't exist, it will return none. So let's say AH here and check. It will return an error, key error, AH, which is key, which is it doesn't. It means it doesn't exist. Okay. However, we don't want this kind of error in our program. Okay. So there is a way to check the dictionaries in Python. Okay. And I didn't mention it before, but let's say for example for you, you can just go, you can just use Google's and go to Google. Okay. Now what do you want to make sure? You want to check how to get the, I want to get the keys here. So I want to access the keys only without getting this error. A way to do it is, what if we can, get the keys as a list? So I have all the list. So I have the users that's there and I can check them. So you can go write Python, get dictionary keys, for example. Okay. If you go here, get dictionary keys as a list. So one of the ways is that is the input and is the output. So yeah. So you can use dict.keys. Okay. This is for Python 2. Okay, let's say. This is another way. Let's say let's try one of the ways here. There are many ways to do it, but let's try for the easiest one. Is it going to work or not? So let's say dict.keys, for example. Okay. First, we want to make sure is dict.keys working or not. So the one of the ways to do it, just try to print it. So user data.keys. Okay. And click. Yeah, it gave us the keys. Okay. So you can see that this one is not a list. It's not a list yet. It's a dict keys. So it is a list of dict keys. We can change it to a list using the list function like this. Okay. Can do like this. So save, and it's a list now. Now I can do this. After I have a list, I can just have a list here, user list, and call it list equals dot keys. So this one will be user list will be storing the keys, our keys here, 1, 2, 3, which is also the users. Okay. So okay, now everything working. We already know we can access now. Now we can do, what we can do is that let's check, for example, let's try to check if a user exists or not. We don't do this anymore. We are going to do user list, and we'll check if, and we have our user here, for example, let's say HN. So we are asking, is this one inside this one? So is this one inside our list? So this is our list. Okay, let's have it here, a comment. Okay, and one of the things that you have to notice that to make a comment inside Python is you have to use the square here, or the hashtag square. Okay, that is like this. Is like this. Sorry. So this is our list. So we are asking, is when I say if AH, for example, in user list, I'm asking, is AH in this list, which is the user, our list for now? Is it in this list? Okay. So let's try. It doesn't show anything. So it means it doesn't exist. Let's try Alex, for example. It shows exist. Okay. Now we already know how to check if the user exists or not using the list. So now what the user we want to check is not the one that we are going to do to enter status, in a static way. We want the user to be able to enter the username, and we want to check. So we will use the input function, and we will pass the value from the input function into our if statement here. Okay, let's check. Let's say Alex. It says exist. Let's try another one. Let's say AL. It doesn't show anything, so it doesn't exist. So now, but the user wouldn't know if it exists or not. So we will have another condition. Let's say else. Okay, and else will tell the user print. Will say username like this. Then we'll give us our message. Doesn't, or let's say isn't a user name, or isn't, let's say register, for example, make it more. So isn't register or whatever. I think I have a spelling mistake. Okay. So we will say that username blah 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 is not registered. Okay. So now let's check again. Let's say Alex exists. Let's say AL. AL is not registered, which is true because it's not in our list. Okay, or is not registered as a user for now. Okay. Now we have our basic if condition that will check if the user exists or not. Now, after we check if the user exists or not, we will check. Okay, when you use the square brackets and normal brackets. Okay, actually, the difference between square brackets and the normal brackets. So this is square brackets and this is the normal brackets. This means this is a dictionary. Okay, so dictionary. So let's write a comment here. Dictionary. Okay, this is a dictionary. List. This is a list. Okay, so this is a dictionary and this is a list. Sorry, this is a list and this is a dictionary. Okay, so currently for this one, for this one, it's already a list because I'm using a function. It's a built-in functions. This is one of the built-in functions for dictionaries, which give me the keys here as a list, and also because it's not a well-known list, it's a list of keys. So I want it to be a list that I can access. So I will just can use the list also built-in function to change it to a list like this. Okay. Now let's go back. After I check if my user exists or not, I want to check if the password correct or not. So how I'm going to do it? Now already the user checked. So where am I going to check here? Because if the user already exists, so I can say another if, which is a nested if. So if inside if. So I'm saying if this exists, now go to the other if, do the other thing. So we are going to do if user data because now it's already there. So we are going to use if user data. Now, which one do we want to check? Okay, we want to check the data of this one. So I'm going to pass this username here also. Okay. So if user data username, which is anything the user will enter. Now I'm already inside this one. Okay. But I'm not this one will just give, will check if it's there or not. Now I want to check the password. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this. So I'm telling this one, give me the whole data, this whole data, okay? And I'm telling it to give me the password. Now let's check if it's going to work or not. So if username, okay, this Alex, and I want the password of Alex, okay, equals, okay, now equals what? Let's say, for example, for now we already know the password. So let's check if our loop works or not. Let's say print correct password. Okay, let's check. Let's say enter. So let's say Alex. So correct password. Yeah, this is fine. Now we want to or now we already know this is also working. So how are we going to tell the user to enter the password? We are going to do the same here. Okay, we can username. Let's say instead of the username here, we can call it password. Okay, enter your password. So instead of this one, you can just do like this, password. Okay, now let's check. Username Alex. Now it's asking me for the password. Let's just say I enter a correct password, 123, correct. Imagine that I entered the wrong password. So let's say Alex, correct password. Let's say any other password. It doesn't show anything. So it's not, now it doesn't show anything. We can also give the user a message, print, okay, and correct password. Okay, let's say username Alex and correct password. So incorrect password. This is now is working. This one doesn't, we don't need this anymore. Okay. So now we have the we already let's say let's go back, store the user data using Python dictionary, give user their data according to their name. Now we already we can access using password. Now I want to give the user the data, which is for example the phone number. This is just easy. After the user give us the correct password, we'll just print. We can print so phone, let's say phone number or the data that you already stored. So for example, if you have more than data, you want to show it, we want to show the data with the key, for example, or so on. We can just do like this. Let's say, let's print the whole thing, for example, now. You can just do user data, then username, okay. Because the user give us the correct password, you can just print the whole thing. I hope this one is correct. Let's say Alex, the password ABC123. Yeah. After he give us a correct password, we can just show the data. You can, for example, now we are showing the password. It's okay because the user already his password. You're not in a a professional class for security and so on. So now we already give the users their data according to their names and passwords. Now let's try and access another user. For example, let's try Sam. Okay, and the password is the same ABC123. No, it's okay. It's working okay. Yeah. Okay, let's try. Imagine we want to change this password. Let's say this one. Okay. So Sam and password ABC345. Yeah, it's working. So this was the basic task you are supposed to do for the your assignment. Okay. This one is the basic one. However, there is a bonus, as I mentioned in the task, which is add users and to the Python dictionary and delete them. Okay. Now, after I finish this one, do you have any questions? Let's have some questions first before we go any further. Guys, any questions? Okay. If you don't have a question yet, I will give you, uh, let's say, 10 minutes. Try to do this as the same I did. Okay. And if you have any errors or any questions while doing it, you have to do it. Okay. While doing it, just ask me. I will be here. Someone is asking, can you explain the first two lines of code again, please? Okay. So the first two lines, you mean the user list and user data here? Okay. Actually, this one is just, you know, a dictionary. If you go back to the slides, the previous slides, this is just a dictionary. Okay. I think I explained the dictionary about it briefly. So a dictionary is just a normal, just like a normal dictionary. I have a key, which is this is the key, okay, and I have values. However, in our task here, we are using a key, and the value is another dictionary which has keys and values. So if we can access Python here, Python, okay, let's say. So a dictionary, let's say new dict, okay. A dictionary is like this. So this is the key, and this is our value. For example, for now it's a number. So I want to access a dictionary like this. I can use the key, which is A, for example, for now. So the one on the left is the key. Okay. The one in the right is the value. Okay. However, for our task here, we have a dictionary inside a dictionary, which is like this. Let's say this one, another dictionary. This is the key. So this is a value like this. Okay. So this one, this is a dictionary. So this is the whole thing is a dictionary. And inside the dictionary, we have another dictionary, which is a nesting dictionary. Okay, that's all. Some people are asking, enter your password. Why do you? Oh, okay. Some people are asking, why do I have the dots here? This is just fine. I don't care about it. This is my what you call it? My IDE. It shows the spaces. You can activate and deactivate that according to this. So you can just, what is it? Yeah, this one. If you this is the render white spaces. Sorry if it's misleading. It's just so this is the dictionary. Okay, thank you. Hope you already understand how dictionary works. Okay, and for the second line, which is this one, because now we have keys inside our dictionary. Okay, we already have keys. This is a key. Okay, this is a key. So for example, imagine now I have more than one key. Let's say this is another value. Let's say B, and it has a value and so on. So I want to get these keys only because these keys represent my users for now. This keys represents my users, yeah, for our simple program. So I want to access the keys. So because I cannot in a dictionary, I cannot check if let's say a and new dict, let's say, uh, okay, okay. So for example, this is also another way to do it. Let's say, okay, let's try, for example, sorry, this one is just I want to, I get the list of the the users here, which is the keys. You can see this user data dot keys. This one will give me these ones. Okay, this one. Okay, inside my dictionary. However, if you don't want to use it, you can just use this one. You can just cancel this one. You can just use username and user data like this. Okay, let's say Alex. Okay, and let's say password ABC123. It's also working fine. So both ways is correct. Whatever way you see working, it's correct. But this one is just to show you one of the built functions that you can use inside, a dictionary. So the way I'm teaching you is that I show you, knowledge along the way, because I cannot show you all Python, but I'm trying to show you some of the knowledge along the way. Okay. So you can use this one. Okay, I'm not defining it as a username. Mostly, this is the basic structure of creating username and password and so on. In databases, it's different, okay? But this is the most basic structure. So it is a key. For now, sorry. For now, Alex is the key to access this dictionary, okay? So mostly it's not like the normal user you have username inside, what you say, Facebook and so on. But this is the basic structure. In Facebook, instead of having a dictionary or so on, they have a database. Okay. However, in our example, we are creating our own database, which will the username here resembles a key. Okay, a key give us the access to data and so on. That's all. Okay, the function of this is that it tells us there will be a block of code. Okay, so it means there is a block of code here. So it means anything under this function with the spaces here, it's under this one. So if you delete this one, it will not work. This is one of the functions, one of the syntax of Python. Okay, so for example, someone is asking, sir, where should we put lower in case the user enter the user in caps? What's the function of line 15? Okay, so let's go first for the line 15. The function of line 15, which you mean else here, or like this one, which is this line. Okay, this one is just we are printing the whole data here. We are for example, the user wants we want to give the user all the data. So we're just telling the Python, okay, print all the data that related to this user. That's all. And the other one, someone is asking, where should we put lower in case the username enter the name in caps? Okay. For now, I want you to think about it. Okay. And I will tell you later when we discuss the built-in functions. Someone is asking, uh, is I still confused if we doesn't define line 2 as a dictionary. Did it still can be function the same as you thought? Okay, now this one is not a dictionary. Okay, this is a list because you can see that I already used one of the built function. You can see this. You can see built-in mutable sequence. If no argument is given, the constructor creates a new empty list. So it's a new list. Okay. So this one is not a dictionary. This is a list. This one helps us to create a list. Okay. So I will go to the dictionary here, and I get the keys of the dictionary. Okay. This is the keys, and I create a list of them. This is what does this line of code do. Okay. So this line, you just create a list of the keys here. That's all. So for example, for our dictionary here, the key, this is the key. Okay, let's, uh, I don't mean we convert a dictionary into a list. We get the keys, this the keys of the dictionary. We get just the keys. So let's check, let's check, for example, this one. Let's create a dictionary. Okay, this is a dictionary. Okay, let's say this is key, key one. Okay, and this is key two, for example. And let's create another one, key three. Okay. Okay. Now we have this dictionary, for example. The they use when I use dot keys, I'm telling Python new dict dot keys. I'm telling Python give me the keys. Okay, which is it will return me the keys of the dictionary, dict keys. Okay, it will give me the keys of dictionaries. Now you can see that's not completely a list. Okay, so if you want to convert it to a list, you can just do like this dot. You can just, for example, like this. Okay, and so now it's a list that we know, a normal list. Okay, so let's try, for example, don't use this one and try again. Okay, Alex, ABC 123. Okay, it still works. However, just, as I told you, you can do it any way you want, but this is so that we are sure it's a list. Okay, sir, but key isn't defined in the user data. Then how it takes the credential from the user data? The Let's imagine the keys are the key function. Okay, the key function, it's a built-in function in Python. Okay, that gets the keys from the user from the dictionary. Okay, so it will just go here and get the keys. That's all. So don't make it confuse you. If you don't want to use it, you can ignore it. But it's a piece of knowledge that you can use later. So anyway, you can make it work, so it's still okay. I I think there isn't any other question. Okay, someone is raising a problem. What's the problem, Mr. Yusuf? Okay, I think you can share your screen. I'll stop my screen here. Actually, I don't know what's the problem that you are facing. Can the host unmute this guy, Yusuf? Yes.
Okay, so this problem I cannot fix it. I don't know at this problem I still can't enter anything. I get this weird I can't see the enter your name part.
Okay. Can you go back to the terminal? Go to the terminal. Okay. The terminal, yeah, and just click Control Z.
Okay.
Control
Z.
Undo? No, I kill terminal. Just use kill terminal. Okay.
Okay.
Can you let me check? So, oh, you are using a Mac, yeah? Can you go down now? Can you go down? Yeah, now it's okay. I think you can try now. Run your file. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys. I think we can continue now. If you don't have any other problems you are facing. Okay, someone says wait. Do you have another problem? Someone is taking Python problem. I followed your steps and I can still not run the code. Okay, can you share your screen if you have a problem, or at least explain the problem? Steps and the second to the code.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hi. When I run the code, I'm getting a problem. It says a synthetic error. Syntax
Okay.
error. Yeah.
Which line? Does it say which line?
The first one, the user data, the longest line.
Okay. Can you share the screen? I also.
Okay.
Okay. Alex. Okay. Just a simple error. You notice that you have a missing single quotation mark at the end of the line.
Oh, here?
Yeah. That's all.
Okay, so okay, thank you so much.
Okay. I think now everyone is okay. Okay, we'll continue. Now, can you explain more how to differentiate between list and dictionary? Okay. The difference between a list and dictionary is the square brackets. So a square brackets mean it's a list, okay? And normal brackets like this is a dictionary. So this is a dictionary, this is a list. This is one way. And Lists doesn't have keys, okay? So a list is like this, it doesn't have a key. So if I want to create a list, let's say x equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? This is a list. However, let's say y equals to a and blah, 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 and so on, okay? This is a dictionary. And let's say this one, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a tuple. So list, dictionary, tuple, okay? And we have also 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is what? A set, okay? So list, dictionary, tuple, set, okay? Each one has its own, difference. So let's, I think if you all are facing a problem with it, I can discuss about them now. You, are you still facing problem with dictionaries, list, and tables and so on? You want more clarification? Okay, so I think let's do some clarification regarding list and dictionaries. For now, I'll create a new file. Let's call it okay. So as we discussed before, we have many types of, or many data types, okay, in Python. So let's just start with the first type, which is, let's say, let's start just with the types that, related to many data entry and so on. So let's start with list, okay? So in Python, when you have square brackets and you have elements inside them, this is a way of to write a list, okay? So this is a list. If I just write print the type, which is type is a built-in function in Python that tells you what type of data you are dealing with, okay? So let's try this. So this is a list. You can see class is a list. Also, if you are using the IDE, you can see, let's say, there's a problem with the IDE. So let's say, okay, no problem. So you can see that it tells you this is a list, okay? And the difference between a list and a tuple like this, let's call this X list, and this one, let's call it Y tuple, okay? This is a tuple, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So the difference between this one and this one is that what I can do here, I can start my program like this. If I can start my program like this. So I can, let's print, for example, the list now, X list at the beginning. Let's print it and go here. In the first line, I printed the list. So I will see the results of this when I run the code. Now, in the middle of the code, I decided I want to add something to the list on the way, okay? So let's say X list dot, okay? You can see the functions that we have. The editor will tell you the functions that you can do with the list. So let's say, let's try and append, for example, okay? Let's append. What does it mean, append? It will insert an item to the end of the list. So let's insert, for example, 66, okay? And print the list here, X list, and let's run the code. So you can see, the first time I ran the code, it showed me the values of the list at the beginning, which is this one, okay? When I go and in the middle of the code, I decide to add a new values to the list. So I appended 66. So it's already here, okay? So I have 66. And also I can append how much I want. So I can, let's say, I can create a loop that adds values to my list. For example, let's say for I, okay, in range, okay, or let's say while true. No. This is while loops. I will explain them in a bit. So let's say for range, okay, 10, for example. So this one will give, well, loop inside the loop 10 times. I will explain to you later what does this do. So I can do like this. I can append I, okay. So I can append as much item as I want in my list. I can append 100, for example, like this, okay. So this is a list. I can append, I can delete. So instead, for example, after I appended, I can also delete them. I can say X list dot, and you say I can remove. I can choose any item I want to remove. I will give the index. For example, let's say index 1. So which is the one index 1? 3. When I run the code again, it will remove 1. Sorry. So all the first one in my list already removed. Okay. I can remove any other item and so on. I can add items. This is the list. So I can manipulate or change the list all the way. It is the same list. It's still the same list here. Okay. However, let's go and play with the tuple again. Okay. Also, for the list, we can, if we want to access the value inside the list, we use the index. So I can access the first item. Let's say print, sorry, print X, okay. And I can access the first item, the second item, and so on. This is the list. A tuple, similar to a list, the difference is that we are using parentheses instead of brackets. And the other main important thing is that we cannot, modify tuple. So let's say tuple, y tuple, okay. And I want to add a new value to it. So let's say, you can see, I don't have any functions regarding modification of a tuple. I just have count and I just have index. So count, what does count do? Just count how many times something is repeated. Okay. So if I have, for example, 3 again here. Sorry. It will just tell me, for example, how much trees I have there and so on. So we can see we have only 2 functions regarding a tuple. So when you create a tuple, you have only 2 functions here, count and index, which is give you the index of the item you want. So you cannot use insert, you cannot use add. So if you try to use add here, for example, or append, the one we used with the list. So append, okay. You cannot use it, okay. If you try to append anything, it will give you directly an error. Tuple, the object doesn't have attribute append. Yeah, because it's a tuple. This is a tuple. This is the difference between a tuple and the list. So we'll put them together. So this is a tuple, 1, 2, only 2, count or index. However, in the list we have count, extend, index, insert, bob, remove. So insert, bob, remove, revert, sort, all these kinds, it will change the list. It's the same. The list, we can change the same list, add to it, remove from it, okay. However, in the tuple, we cannot. You cannot do anything to the tuple unless you want to create another tuple. So we can just create, if you want to modify, you can just create another whole new tuple. So this is a new tuple. It's not the same tuple anymore. It will remove the new one, it will remove the old one, add the new one, okay. This is what we talk about, the difference between a list and a tuple. So is it clear? Do you have any questions? Okay. This is for, a list and a table. Now let's go to another one. Let's create, let's say, dictionary. This is a dictionary. So a dictionary is, a way to store data, different type of data. However, if you want to store them, you have to use a key, which is this one. Let's call our key, for example. So the key can be anything, okay? But it should be, it should be, what you can say, a string, okay? Or and you can use also a number, but I prefer probably you should use a string. So with using a key. So let's call our key, for example, A for now. Okay, this is a dictionary. Okay, we can have many keys, but not the same. Okay, the values can be the same, but the keys, they're not the same. Okay, so the keys can be anything like this. Okay, so a dictionary, what can we do with a dictionary? You can check. We have clear, so you can clear the whole dictionary. You have copy, you can copy the dictionary. From keys, you want to get the keys according to some numbers and so on. You have get, you have items, so you can get the items here. You have keys, which one the one you used before. So the keys will give us these ones. These is the keys. Okay, the one we used before. Let's check the rest. We have update, we have values. So the values will give us the values inside the dictionary, which is these ones. Okay, so if I try and print values, it will give me the values only. Okay, but the way it returns the values, it's inside the key. So this is values, but as a list. Okay, inside the list. So this is a list of values. Okay, which is these values. You can notice that these values is these values. If I change this one, instead of values, I want the keys, it will give me the keys. Okay, so this is the functions that we can do. A dictionary, the way to access a dictionary, we cannot access a dictionary using an index. Okay, let's try for example and access a dictionary using an index. Try this one. It will give you an error. You cannot access a dictionary using an index. We have to access the dictionary using its keys. Okay, so we'll access the dictionary using the first key, for example. So let's say print, so on. Okay, I can access the values. I can also change the values using the keys. So this key, I can change this value of this key. So I can just key and I can equal and add a new value. So let's say I want to change it to a number. When I print, let's print the whole dictionary again. So it's already changed. Okay, so this is the way we deal with dictionary. So dictionary is useful if you want to have a key, okay, and a value. For example, for our example now, we want to have a key. The key will be, for example, the username or an ID, okay, and the ID will have a username, password, and so on. So this one, it's not the best way to do it. Inside, for example, big companies, instead of the username, they're going to have an ID. So let's say 01, like this, and they will have here also another inside the dictionary, which is inside our key. So let's say username Alex. It can be like this. So ID, user, and okay, this is a way to do it. So the one I showed you is not the best way to do it, but it's also possible. Okay, so this is the keys, dictionaries, and lists. As for a list, let's just let's say let's create a list. As for a set, sorry, key set, it's the same. So this is a dictionary list. Let's say let's call it L set. Okay, so this is a set. Okay, in a set you can have many data types. Okay, I can have also A. However, if you have a list, let's check what we have. What do we have for a list? We have remove, symmetric difference, symmetric updates, union update. Okay, we have only these. Okay, we have also add, clear, copy, difference, discard, and so on. Okay, so we have more what you call functions or methods to deal with a set. However, a set is not, we cannot access a set using an index. Okay, that's the difference between a set and what you call it, a list and a tuple. Okay, and it's not ordered according to an index. So sometimes this order can be changed. So you should be careful. If you are dealing with something that need to be ordered, you cannot use a set. You have to use a list or a tuple. Okay, but if you want to use if something, it doesn't mean the order, you can use the set. That's the difference between them, and that's all. Do you have any questions? Okay. Okay. Someone is asking, shouldn't be equals new? No, no, no. I think I already showed you in the previous slides. Is that this one, okay, is not an assignment. This one you cannot. When I want to assign a new value, it's like this. This is I assign a new value. But if I want to check if it's equal or not, I use to the double equal. So double equal means compare. One equal sign means assign. Okay, so I'm telling this one z should be equals to this one. But if I'm saying this one, so I'm asking, is this one equals to this one? Okay, I think that's all. Do you have any question regarding the dictionary list and so on? Okay, we can go and continue our stuff here. Okay. Now, one of if we, let's go to the point 3 in our task, which is the bonus one. User can add user data to the Python dictionary. Okay. Now, if we want to have the user to add data and also delete data, we can also make it. We can grow this code bigger, so we can add. So let's say after the user entered, so the user is already entered. We can also add this one, but it will be messy. Okay, so let's organize our code. So to make our code more organized, what I mentioned before that we can use functions. Okay, so how can we use functions here? So imagine that we want to organize our code here and we use functions. What we can do is that we can divide our code into too many parts. So let's imagine, let's comment this code. So this code, when we say comment, so that this means this one is not a code anymore. For now, it's not a code anymore because it's already committed. So it's just a text. The Python code will ignore it. Okay. Now let's organize our code, or just copy this one somewhere here. Okay. So now to organize our code, to comment all the lines, you can just select them and Ctrl and the backslash. I think so. Yeah, backslash. Okay. Or you can just go select all and comment. I think it's supposed to be okay then. Yeah. I'm not sure. Okay. After this one, let's go to now if we want to make our code organized, so we have divide the code to functions. Okay. So the first function will be login. Okay. So we want to log in or get the data login. So let's call user. Let's define a function, call it def log in. Okay. Okay. So the login, it will do what? It will check the user. What you can say first. It will check the user, data is if it's correct or not, and if it's correct, it will log in the user. If not, it will not log in the user. Okay. So let's say log in, and how can we do it? Let's say if we want to log in the user, what do we need to log in the user? We need to have the username and the password. Yeah. So we'll just go to our VS Code and get this one. Okay, username, and let's get the password also. We can get them all at the same time. Okay, so enter your name, enter your password. So let's, and now we'll check. We'll continue if username, okay, equals, or sorry, n. When we say n, we mean is it n? So let's say username and user data. You can use this one or user list because we already have the user list here. So if it's n, we are going to check for the password. Okay. So if user data slash username equals password. However, this one we have to make sure we are using the key password. Okay. Now let's see. For now, let's print logged in. Logged in. Okay. Okay. Now, if the password is incorrect, let's print incorrect password. Okay. Else print user. Sorry. Print user is not registered or whatever. Okay. Okay. Now this one is already working. Def login. So after we log in, we'll check if it's correct or not. So this one is supposed to be working correct. So now let's check our function. Now let's call our function here, for example, and check if it's working or not. So username, let's say Alex, and password ABC123. Okay, logged in. Okay, now this one is correct. So far, so good. Okay. Now we already can log in our user. Now let's try, and we have to what we call make the user or allow the user to add or delete. So to make the user add or delete, it should, for example, let's create another user. Let's call our user here admin. Okay, admin. So, and the admin will have the password and so on and all the stuff. Yeah. And if the user is admin, he is able to, for example, add or delete users and so on. So let's have an admin here aside of from the other users, and let's say the admin user is admin and so on. So let's define another function. Let's say add users. Okay. So if let's okay, log in users and so on. Now when we want to add a user, first we have to check if the user is, let's say first add the user directly before that. So if you want to add a user, we can do this. So we'll get the username here. So this one will allow the user to pass an argument, username and password. Yes. So we can use them. So if you want to add a user, we have to allow the user to, add his name and the password. So let's call this one username, and we'll add the user data to here. So username, we'll use this username to create another password. So we'll create another key aside from them. So So we'll have this one. Now we have a new user. To create a new user, we have to create the same one, the whole dictionary here. So to create a dictionary, let's call this dictionary like this. So we have password, okay. And the password will be the password the user provided for now. So we have username, password, okay. For example, we don't have data now. Let's make it all in one go. So phone number, okay. Then phone, okay. So now this function will allow us to add a user. Directly it will add a user. It will not ask if the user exists or not. So this one is okay. Okay. Now we have the login. We have add users. Okay. Let's add another function. We want to delete a user. Okay. So to delete a user, I told you to go and look in the internet. So let's delete. Let's say delete user. For users or whatever. So to delete a user, what do we need to delete a user? So we need the username, yes, and we need the password. Okay. To delete a user, you need the username and the user password. So what you are going to do? There are many ways to delete data from a dictionary in Python. The easiest way is just use the delete function, del. Then you can pass the username like this. So you go to the user data and you pass the username, it will delete directly. Okay, this is the way. But before we delete, we have to make sure the user enters the password. So we just don't delete directly. Okay. However, let's go with this one for now. So now we have three functions. We have login, we have add users, we have delete users. Okay. Now everything is fine for now. Now let's try and combine them. Okay. Now, when we log in, we want the user first to if the user is an admin, we'll have options to the user. Okay. If the user is not an admin, we'll just show the data of the user. Okay. So now let's create another function that shows the data. Someone is asking, sir, for delete user, you didn't put the phone number. Yeah, because if I want to delete the user, I don't need his phone number. I can just delete the user directly. So I just pass the username, or I can also ask for the password, because when I delete this one will go here and delete the whole thing. It will not ask for anything. Okay, all I need is the key. So is the example this one? Let's show an example. This is our dictionary. So this is our dictionary here. How it happened? Okay, so this is our dictionary. If I showed new dict, this is a dictionary. If I just delete and new dict, and I choose one of the users. So let's say key one. I check now our dictionary. You can see it's already deleted. So this is the way you can just use the key. Okay. Now let's define a variable, a function to show the data. Show data. So it will show all the data. Okay. So what do we need to show all the data? We just need the user name, for example. Okay. So what is going to do? So this one it will go to the user data. So user data, and it will use username to show the data. Okay. I think so. It will print. So we can make it beautiful. So you can user name, then you can just username, then you can print user phone number, you can see user data, username, sorry, username, then phone. Okay, so this one it will just show the user name. So I think can do it this way. Okay, show data, it will just go show data. Okay, now we have add users, delete users, show data, we have the login. Okay, so the login will make sure if the password and all the thing is correct. So to use this function, if we just use login and login, what else to do? So we have to make sure this function return us something. So if the user password, the user is password and so on is correct, so we will return true. Okay, so it will return us a value called the true. Else, here it will return false. Okay. Also, if the user doesn't exist, it will return false. Okay. So this is the login functions, and I show you later why do we return true or false. Okay. Okay. Now let's write. Now we already have the users, delete user, and so on. Let's create the main function. So now if the user is an admin, so let's say. Okay, we have already username, password, and so on. We'll have more options because we already have admin. Let's add a new option. Let's what is it? So if username, user list. Okay, nice. Now everything is nice. But we want to add a new a new rule. So let's say instead of returning true, we don't need to return it. We need a way so that we can we already know if it's an admin or not. Okay, so now in the login we can add another condition. So if it's an admin, we can have or we can give the admin more options. Okay, so let's give the admin here. So if the user is user list, if the user data dot blah blah blah, so logged in. Okay, after the user login, okay, we can come here and if let's say instead let's think about a nice way to do it. Okay, so return username. Okay, so we'll return the username. Here we'll just return false. Okay, I will show you now why. So let's say create the main way. So if login, okay, now I call the function here. When I do it this way, it will return to me that it will run the function and it will return to me what it returns here. Okay, so if it returns false, it will just show you false. If it doesn't, and it will not run this one, the main program. If it returns the username, it will run the program. So let's say if username equals admin, so I want to make sure it's admin. So if it's admin, so we can ask the user print and ask the user choose an option. Okay, so we make the user choose an option, for example. Now let's choose an option. Let's show you the user's the option. So if you want to make more than one line in Python, you can just use three double quotes like this. Okay, so you can have more than one line. So because we want to show in more lines, we use the Python special characters as I showed you before, like this. So let's try and say A. Let's make the users choose. So let's choose, for example, add. to to add users, okay, or delete to delete a user, okay. This one will be like this. This one will be like this, okay. Now, if the user is an admin, so now we want to get the user option. So if we already show the option, the user what to choose, so we can let's say, okay, option. Let's define a variable, call it option, and say input. Because we already showed the message, we can just wait for the user input here. So if now we want to show if the user choose if option here, sorry, if option, oh, this is a missing. If options equals add, we want to do something, okay. So if it's if the user choose add, we'll call add users, okay, add users, okay. And when we call add users, we have to pass something. Now we will have to modify the add users function later, but let's go now. Else, or let's say if again, and so option equals delete, okay. So we can just minimize this one to delete, okay, and we'll call delete users, okay. Later we'll have to modify this one, because now if we want to add users or delete users, we have to give the data. So now this one, if the user is an admin, else, so if the user, sorry, else if, because we want to make sure also if the user is not an admin, so if login doesn't equal, sorry, admin, okay, we just, if the user doesn't equal admin, it will just show data. So print, sorry, you can just show data. And what will show data? So we'll just pass login, because login will return to us the username. Okay, now let's try. For now, let's try our code. Username, let's say Alex, and password ABC123. Logged in. So this is something. Oh, now we have another problem, because now the moment you called and log in and you pass it again, it will be called again. So this is not correct to do it. This is the correct way to do it. So let's, instead of doing it this way, let's try this one. So define a variable. Let's call it user and login. So this one will get the user data. So it's user here. So instead of this one, logged in user, it's like this, and user, okay. So let's try Alex 123 ABC 123. Oh, sorry, Alex ABC 123. Okay, yeah, it works. So username is, phone number is. So this part is already working. Okay, now let's check this part. Delete user. Now you can see there is also a small red line here. It tells us there is something which is a missing argument. So we told the function that we will give it an argument, but we broke our promise. Okay, we didn't give it the argument we promised here. So we promised that we will be giving an argument here, user delete or so on, but we didn't give it. So we can either pass the arguments here. So if we say add users, we'll have to pass the arguments here, which is the username and user password. Or we can just, let's just pass them here. Okay. There are many ways to do it. Let's do it this way. So, okay. So username. So we need here username, password. So username, password. Okay, here just need the username because for now we don't need the password. So if you want to delete, okay. After we delete, let's say it says no value for argument phone in function call. Okay. Add users. Yeah. So we need to add the phone number. So let's say phone. Enter your phone number, for example. Okay. So we have phone here. Okay. I think I hope there is this one is still argument. Yeah. Because here we promised to give the password. So let's give it password for now. But okay. Let's try run our program again. Let's say admin. Enter your password. The admin password is admin, yeah? Admin. Okay. Now I'm asking, choose an option. I literally write choose an option. Oh shit. Okay. An option. So add to add users, delete to delete users. Let's say add. Okay. Now this one is working. So let's add a user. Let's say let's call the user new and the password what 123. The phone number blah blah blah. Okay. Now it is just directly stop. We don't know if the user is already added or not. After we add the user, we want to show the data. So let's say instead of let's print all the data after we add the user. Let's print all the data so we prove that we already add the data here. So after this one, can print user data. Okay. And here also print user data. Let's check again. Sorry. Let's fix this one. Choose an option. Okay. So let's say the name is admin. The password is admin also. So choose an option. Let's say add. So the username I want to add, let's call it new. The password is 123. The phone number, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You can see that it's already added, new password and so on. Okay, now the code is working fine. Let's try the delete one. So the admin, so admin. So let's say delete. So now when you delete, you have to enter the username that you want to delete. So let's say the username, let's Alex, okay? The password, if you didn't enter the password, it's okay because we didn't do anything about it now. So Alex is already deleted, okay? So this is for now, the code for now. I think it looks a bit complicated, but I hope you understand. Do you have any question? Guys, do you have any questions? So I hope everything is clear so far. So I'll give you 5 minutes. You can try the code now. Try the code. If you have any problem, just ask. Okay. Someone is asking why I put this one. This one means doesn't equal. Okay. So this one means equal. So I'm asking if this equals this, do this. If it doesn't equal, do the other thing. That's all. Okay. This means doesn't, not. So I'll give you 5 minutes to try the code. Okay. Actually, the data will be saved only just when the program is still running. Okay, so you can see this one is I added a new user. Okay, so this is it's already added here. It's not the dictionary is not the same anymore as this one. Okay, so it means it added. However, because now we are running our Python just without a database and so on, it will the data will be kept as long as the program is running. The moment we close the program or the program finish, it will just delete. So it just save temporary. Yeah, it saves the data temporary. So this one just to show you a concept of using it. Okay. But if you have a database, you can use a database to save the data. But however, next session, I will show you how you can save the data inside the text file. So you can, for example, instead of having what we call it, a database, you can have a text file or an Excel file to save the data. Yes, you can save the data in X file. Later, I will show you how in the next session, I think. After we finish this one, the program just directly, close. What we want to do is how to make the program run in the loop. Okay. Now I will be introducing to you the while loop and for loop and so on, iteration and so on. Okay. Let's go. Okay, I will be sharing the code later. Okay. Now, after as I mentioned before, when you write a code, one of the most important rules in programming is that don't repeat yourself. Okay, so whenever you write a code, try your best to not keep repeating the steps you are doing if you can. Okay, so try your best not to repeat the steps. So now let's start with loops and iterations. So one of the ways to avoid repeating yourselves. Okay, so let's say sometimes inside the code we want to repeat an operation. Let's say 100 times, 1,000 times, a million times. Okay, especially the people who are dealing with data science or machine learning or AI and so on. Or if you are writing a program should be kept running forever, for example, unless you close the program. Okay, so one of the ways to do this, let's say you can copy the code 100 times. What do you think? Is it a good way? I want to repeat the code 100 times. Is it a good way to just keep, copy and paste the code? Well, you can just Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, and so on. But after that, you will end up with, instead of 100 lines, you will end up with 1,000 or 2,000 lines of code for a simple task. So this is not the way. So the way to repeat a code is to use what we call a while loop. Okay. So a while loop is that just the keyword while and the condition. What's the condition? It's the same as for if else. So, but if else, it will check if it's correct or not, and it will perform according to the condition. However, while loop, it will check if the condition is correct or not. So if the condition is correct, it will keep running the code until the condition is changed. Okay. So let's look at this code. So this code is saying x equals to 0. Okay. And we are asking while x is smaller than 5, do this operation and print. So what's going to happen? It will first, it will go to x equals is 0, so it's not greater. So it's not greater than 5, and it's still smaller than 5. So this condition is still correct. Yes. Let's go. So x equals to x plus 1. So 0 plus 1 is equals to 1, and we print. So 1, and we go again. X is still smaller than 5. So this one is still correct. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So print x 2, and so on. 2 plus 1 3 till we reach 5 here. So let's go. Let's say 5. So 5 plus 1. Sorry. Yeah. 5 plus 1. Sorry. 4. Let's go 4 before 5. So 4 plus 1 is 5. Print 5. This is 5. Okay. And when we go back, the value, it's already 5. We cannot execute the code, so it will stop. Okay. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, because we start from 0. So 0 plus 1, 1. 1 plus 1, 2. 3 plus 1, 4. 4 plus 1, 5, and it will stop. This is how the while loop works. Okay. So let's try and run Python here. I think let's share the screen. Okay. So let's create a loop. Let's say while. Okay. So first, let's create a value. Let's say, okay. Let's try this simple code. So let's x equals 10. Okay. Let's say while x is smaller than 10, and we say print x. Okay. It will not run because we are saying while x is equals to 10. So it doesn't make any sense. So let's say 10. Now let's try our code. It will keep running. Why? Because if you, we cannot stop the code. Because if you come here, you can, hey, stop. Okay. If you come here, what we write is that x equals 0, and we say while x is greater than 0, but we didn't change the condition, so it will keep running. However, if we did it like this, okay, and we say x equals to x plus 1, okay, so we are adding 1 to the x each time we run the code. Let's print x. So it will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 10. Okay. This is the way the while loop works. After that, we go to what we call the indefinite loop or infinite loop. What does it mean? It means that the loop will keep working forever. It will not stop unless you stop the program. When does this happen? When you give a condition that cannot be changed. So if I say while true, like this, okay, and I run the code, the code will keep running. It will not stop forever, okay? Because why? The condition here, while true, how can you change it? You cannot change it because you didn't have a value to access the loop condition and change it. It's the difference between this one, you can access the x and change it. This one, you cannot change it. So it's an indefinite loop. So it will keep working unless you stop the program. Okay. So this is what we call a while or indefinite loop. Okay. So let's go to our program, the one we wrote here. How can we use the while loop to keep it working forever? You can just do this. So you can see while, okay, true, and can we run it this way? Let's try. Oh, an indentation error. Why? Because it expects a block, but however, this one is not a block yet. To make it a block, you can just select all the things that you want to put under, the while loop, and click Ctrl+C, or just use the, double tap for each one. Okay. For me, I just use Ctrl+C, and let's start the code. So let's say admin, Add admin and add. Okay, and let's say new 1 2 and it will keep repeating forever now. It will not stop unless I select to stop. Okay, so I can add Alex. Okay, and so on and so on. Okay, this one is already working. Let's say, but we can notice that doesn't ask me for the username again because I didn't add this one at the here, so it just stops there. So let's say I add this one here like this. Now let's try again. So admin, let's create a user. Let's call it. Let's add a user. Let's call it Sam2, for example, and the password is 123 AMD. That's the phone number. Blah blah blah. Okay. Now you can see that I already add the user. Can I access the data for the user? Let's try. So Sam2, and the password is 123 AMD. Okay, we have an error here. What does it say? Key error false. Okay, because why? Sam2 doesn't exist. Seriously. User is not registered. Why? So we have an error here, username that equals. Since this one does not update. Yeah. Why? Because we did a mistake at the beginning. I told you we used this one. However, this one will not update. This is one of the mistakes we make sometimes. Now, when we run the code, this one will not update. The user list will only update once. Okay, it will not update again. So it's either you update it every time you run the code. So you put it here. Okay. So when you run the code, let's say admin, and add Sam2, for example, and password is 123, for example, phone number, blah, blah, blah. Now let's try again. Sam2, password 123, shows the data. Now our code is working in a loop. Okay. I think that's all for today. If you have any questions, you can ask. Do you have any questions? For those who are asking for the code, yeah, I will share the code now. I already shared the code here. I think you can you can download the code from here, yeah? If no one has a question, we will end the session for today. Okay. Okay, I'll send it to the WhatsApp group. So thank you, everyone. I hope you have no problem for today's session. It's a bit complicated, but I hope everyone is okay. And thank you.